Right, what's next? Elbows. Elbows are some of my favorites to throw. They activate the core a lot. Right here, you really gotta feel them, and they help coordinate the shoulder muscles. Because when you're just punching, your shoulders kind of remain stationary if you're not really into the mindset of using them. So, you've got the hook elbow, uppercut elbow, the downward elbow, which I think is illegal in UFC. So, I still practice that one, but just because it's important, I think, to have a well-rounded game. But I don't think it's legal. And then you have the jab elbow, which you just step forward, pop your shoulder back. I'll step to the side so you can see it. So you step forward, shoulder back, and then pop into it. Whenever you're punching, or elbowing, or kicking, or doing anything, you tend to have your focus on the body part that's doing the strike. So if you punch, here's where your focus is, where it tends to be, on the arm, hand, shoulder. But if you really want to strike more effectively, it's important to have a mindset that focuses more on the legs and the opposite part of the body. Because if you focus on the legs and the other arm, then you devote all that other momentum in your body into the leading striking part. So if I throw let's say the elbow, the lead elbow, with my left side, I want my right side to come back. So I really want to focus on winging that right side back, contracting all these muscles here, the lat muscle that pulls the shoulder down and locks it, and the hip and the leg muscles. So I not only want to bring this part of my body forward, I want to bring this part of my body back, because the back momentum, like a seesaw, will lend itself to the forward momentum. So I pull back and I throw the lead elbow almost like it's in a sling, you know, like the old David and Goliath ones. So the momentum comes from one side and whips out to the front, and this elbow is really just an extension of an entire body chain of momentum. So it comes first from the feet to the knees to the hips to the butt. You really want to focus on lower back, butt, hip flexor muscles. The hips are the powerhouse of your body. They generate the most force. And if you wing your hips into anything, you're taking, well, for me, it's your entire body weight. Let's say that much. I weigh about 200 pounds. Taking 200 pounds with momentum, so it's a hell of a lot more. And you're slinging it into that elbow. So pull, bring the knee forward, push off with this foot, the lead foot. Push, so you push forward with this one. You push backwards with the rear foot. So you're twisting, and then you're pulling the shoulder back. If you want to keep your hand up here, go ahead, but try to focus on bringing the shoulder back while still keeping the hand connected to your face. That looks like this. So you can see, shoulder comes back, hand comes up to the face. You know, this is getting pretty long already. I think I'm just going to demonstrate y'all elbows today. I'll cover punches, knees, kicks, in subsequent days. So, pull the elbow backwards, and you sling the elbow forward. The shoulder backwards. Sorry, you pull the shoulder backwards, and you sling the elbow forward. So it's like this. Lunge, push, forward, push back, elbow, shoulder, elbow. So, lead foot, forward, rear foot, backwards, right shoulder, torque it back, finally swing the elbow up. So you see that while your lead elbow, can become the main focus of the strike, it is really only the final piece that is built upon the foundation of the other moves in the body. So, bam, bam. And one thing I've really learned how to do recently is coordinate the shoulder muscle to bring it from a locked back position to a popped forward front position. So you're completely swinging your shoulder as well as the rest of your body, especially the core right here, because that connects your ribs to your hips. So the weak core, your hip, the power of your hips cannot translate to your upper body. And you roll it back through, lock it in, lock it up. And then you pull it through. Bam. So, all together, I'm going to run through a series of elbows from one side to the next, so you can get an idea of what they look like. Rear, right, lead hook, lead elbow, downward, and jab. When you jab, just pop. You're throwing your whole body forward. Pop. It's really a short strike. You're coming from here to here. Up, bam, up, bam. And then you got your rear strikes. Downwards. Go through them slow. Down. Side. The rear strikes for me are not my favorite because they require so much torque on the body. You really got to push this hip forward, pull this one back, and I would rather hit with the lead and then switch to the other lead if I'm going to strike, but that's just my personal preference. If you like the rear strikes, they're great if your back is against the wall because they have a lot of power. So you hit with a hook, uppercut. When you hit from the rear, it's always important to bring your rear hip forward and bring your front hip back. You want to twist them in the opposite direction. And the jab. The jab from the rear is a hard one to pull off. So it requires a lot of flexibility. And then you have the more showy ones. This one comes from the hip, like you're drawing a sword out, but instead of bringing the hand out, you bring your elbow. So you strike down, and then you fully complete the motion, and you pop back up. I saw Anderson Silva knock a guy out with that one in a cage rage fight, an old fight. Bam! So, swing down, bam. It's great if you follow through with the strike, it doesn't hit. Just complete the range of motion and then come back. It's a very unexpected strike, nobody throws it. That's probably why I hit him with it. And then you have the rear elbow. So you throw a lead. Usually you throw a lead. See John Jones throw rear elbows out of nowhere. But I believe in combos. I'm a combo believer. So you throw the elbow. And there are a few rear elbows. You got the hook. Then you got the downward. And then you got the uppercut. That's kind of hard to throw. Definitely want to practice it. It requires a lot of range of motion. So the lead, and then the elbow. Now the footwork is imperative. Always pay attention to your feet, especially when you're throwing the rear strikes. They're risky, but they're unpredictable, so that kind of balances themselves out. And if you're going to use them, you really have to practice them, so that they are perfect. Because the less error you have, the less you're going to get punched in the back of the head. So when you throw the lead, step forward with, when you throw the rear, this backwards swinging shot. You step forward, you throw a distracting frontward shot. Try to hit with it too, because it's even more distracting if you hit him with it. So you throw the lead, and then you transfer the weight to your front foot, and you start pointing it backwards. So by now you're already facing the opposite direction. And then you swing your foot back so that your stance brings the final rear swing into distance. There you go. Bam! And then by now you can see that my feet are almost into the lead stance already. Ideally, I suppose you want to be in the lead stance. And now I'm right back where I started. And that's all the elbows. That's all the elbows I got for you today. I'll cover knees, punches, kicks next day. Have fun, internets. Let me know what you think. Aside from that, I'm chubby. I know this. I'm working out twice a day. My diet really could use some work, but what can you do? Have fun. Talk to you later. Oh, if you have anything to say, any comments, suggestions, whatever, let me know.